Hello and welcome to our discussion on creativity and innovation. So what's the difference between creativity and innovation? Most researchers consider them to be related but distinct concepts. Creativity is the generation of ideas by individuals or teams, or the ability to combine different ideas in a unique way, or the ability to make unusual associations between ideas. Whereas innovation is using creativity to develop a new product or service that can be useful or become a useful product or work method. Our book suggests that there are a number of components of creativity. First, skills that are relevant to the domain. Second, skills that are relevant to creativity processes. And third, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So in order to be truly creative, you have to at least have basic knowledge about the subject. And you have to have the processes that will help you come up with creative ideas. This includes the way that you approach your work. Sometimes it includes personality, and sometimes it includes methods of thinking. And then finally, finding creative projects inherently interesting and then encouraging risk-taking through extrinsic rewards is another component. Ways that organizations can support creativity. First is through direct organizational support, like providing employees with plenty of autonomy and allowing risk-taking, which usually means allowing failure. Second, supervisory support, like supervisors that act as role models and set clear goals and communicate clearly. And third, work group support, where members of the team share a lot of trust and respect for each other and communicate well and share commitment. So taking a creative idea and turning it into an innovation that is practical and useful is done through the innovation process. The first step in the process is really the creative part, the idea generation, recognizing the problem or the need and coming up with the information needed to generate the idea. And then, once the idea is there, there are probably a number of obstacles between the idea and actual fruition of turning it into a useful product or service. So the problem-solving set of the innovation process includes setting goals and priorities about how to tackle each obstacle, sharing and evaluating ideas, and determining the feasibility of solutions. Then finally, implementation and diffusion happen when the product is first introduced to the market and how it diffuses slowly, maybe quickly, to different users. So there are a number of roles that have value in the innovation process. The inventor is usually the super creative person who develops the idea, but the inventor often does not know how to win support or how to actually turn that idea into a useful product. Whereas the champion recognizes the value in the idea, can visualize the potential benefits, and is able to obtain the necessary financial and political support so that the idea can overcome obstacles. Finally, the sponsor is the higher level manager who removes barriers and gives the final approval, the stamp of approval. So usually what happens is an inventor has a terrific idea, but the champion is the one who takes it to the higher level and finally wins the sponsor. One role that should never be forgotten is the value of the critic, who provides a reality check, identifies shortcomings, and defines the criteria that the idea must pass in order to become a truly useful product or service. And if you're not the inventor, that's okay, because you can add value in any of these roles. So what are some different types of innovation? Product innovation is the first one that we think of, obviously, right? So when you think of Apple and the iPhone, it's the development of new or improved goods or services. But you can also have innovation in processes. So if you figure out a better way to get work done, that can be innovation. And finally, you can innovate in the way that your organization is structured. Google's idea of the team-based organization is truly an innovation in organization structure. Some more types of innovation include training and encouraging people to change their beliefs and behaviors to be more innovative. Exploitative innovation is where you enhance or reuse existing products or processes. So I have a good example of that. As you know from the introduction way back at the beginning of the course, I worked for Gap for a number of years, and then I worked for PetSmart. And at Gap, I was basically trained in the industry standard of apparel merchandising. And then I went to PetSmart and I took over the dog apparel desk, and all I did was to take the training that I received at Gap and use it to plan and manage my assortments at PetSmart. And that new innovation resulted in 25% growth 2 years in a row in sales revenue, and PetSmart becoming the leader in dog apparel sales, and Target and other companies copying what we were doing at PetSmart. So it resulted in a lot of exciting things, but all I was doing was reusing something that I learned somewhere else. And so I would argue not to underestimate the value of transferring the knowledge that you've gained in one aspect of your life and using it in another aspect. And finally, exploratory is allowing employees the time to explore blue sky projects and really take some risks. And Google is another good example of this, where they allow their employees approximately, I believe, 20% of their time to work on blue sky projects to develop new ideas. Here's the thing. We think of creativity and innovation as being inherently risky and a little bit scary, but cultures that lag behind on creativity and innovation are the ones that are really at risk. And these are just a few examples of organizations that were completely overtaken by more innovative organizations in their field.